Did you know that the Washington Metro Red Line is closed? Well, part of it anyway. From July 6th to September 6th, the Red Line is closed between Friendship Heights and North Bethesda, while they work on a new mezzanine for the Purple Line at Bethesda, do some track upgrades between Grosvenor Strathmore and North Bethesda, and work on the platform at Grosvenor Strathmore. But that's not unusual. They do it during the summertime and around Christmas to catch up on important maintenance at periods where the Metro is not as busy as other times. I've made a whole video about this, explaining why these closures happen, what they do during them, and what alternatives are provided. Now, what is unusual about this closure is how much media attention it's getting. I've seen influencers that never talk about trains talk about this closure, and the local media seems to love to report on the frustrations that commuters are facing with this one, much more than in my experience with previous closures. Yes, this specific closure has been getting way more attention. I've even been getting emails and comments from people asking me to talk about it. And again, I have talked about it. If you want more detailed information on these metro closures, I recommend watching my video. Just like always, there are shuttle buses for passengers who have to travel on the closed section. There's an express service which runs nonstop between Friendship Heights and North Bethesda, and then there's a local service making the 3 intermediate stops. However, it is worth talking about some of the unique things that are happening because of this one. For starters, there are bus lanes along most of the route that the shuttle buses run. In theory, these are supposed to speed up the buses, as long as nobody's parked in them, of course. But the shuttle buses again prove why on some busy corridors, trains are just better than buses. Because even though there are a lot of shuttles available, boarding one still requires you to wait in line, and then with traffic and everything, it can add 30 to 40 minutes to your commute. So what if you don't want to do that? Well, there are a few alternatives. If you're in Rockville or Garrett Park, MARC is offering half off their fares to Union Station. Of course, the MARC schedule isn't very frequent. And if you're traveling from Shady Grove, well, Montgomery County has an alternative for you. So say your commute is from Shady Grove to Noma. Is there really no other choice than to go to North Bethesda, get on a shuttle, add 40 minutes to your commute, and then get on the Red Line again? No, it turns out there is an alternative, and that's what we're going to ride today. We are going for a ride on the Glenmont Express. The Glenmont Express is a bus service with only 3 stops, connecting both ends of the Red Line. How does that help anybody commuting into the city? See, the Washington Metro Red Line has a very strange layout. It's kind of a U shape, and both sides of the U actually parallel the same rail corridor. That's how you end up with a situation where Shady Grove, one of the termini, is actually not so far from the other terminus, Glenmont. Now, on a normal day, bus service between the 2 termini isn't great. There is a bus, but it takes just as long as if you would take the Red Line into the city and then back out again. Because of the construction, though, Ride On Montgomery County is offering what they call the Glenmont Express. It runs non-stop from Shady Grove to Glenmont. It actually took me a little bit longer to get to Shady Grove than I thought, so by the time I got there, the bus was already waiting. The Glenmont Express runs only on weekdays, only in rush hours. So from about 5 to 9 in the morning, and then 3 to 7 in the evening. Alright, it is 3:43 on the dot, and we have departed on time from Shady Grove. It's going to take about 20 minutes to reach Glenmont. It's just me and one other person on board right now. And you know how in February on Rosa Parks' birthday, they'll often reserve a seat for her? Well, we're halfway through July, and for some reason, this bus still has it. Glenmont Express actually doesn't originate at Shady Grove, but at the Milestone Center. After stopping at Shady Grove, the bus almost immediately drives onto Maryland Highway 200, also known as the Inter-County Connector. We'll be on this highway for about 10 minutes. Service on the Glenmont Express began on July 6th, the same day as the start of the Red Line summer construction. Now, Shady Grove to Glenmont in 20 minutes is incredible, but there's a catch. This bus is only temporary. It started on July 6th, and it will stop running when the Red Line construction is complete on September 6th. You know what sticks around a lot longer than this temporary shuttle? Your personal data on the internet, in places you don't want it to. Time to introduce the sponsor of today's video, Incogni. Incogni is an online service that contacts data brokers and removes your information from places you don't want it to be. Did you know that websites can retain, publish, and sell your personal data? That is deeply personal stuff about you, and it's fully legal. To make things even worse, reports of data breaches are becoming more common, meaning that your personal data could be exposed and fall into the hands of scammers, identity thieves, and stalkers. So what can you do about that? Well, you could contact each of these websites yourself and ask them to remove your information, but that takes a really long time. Incogni is there to do that for you. Signing up is super easy. All you have to do is create an account and verify your information. I've had my Incogni account for a few months now, and they've already removed my data from over 550 websites. I am grateful for the protection. But here comes the best part. My viewers get 60% off their Incogni subscriptions. All you have to do is enter the promo code AwesomeTrains when you check out. Or you can click on the link in the description. Remember, they can't harm you if they can't find you. So let's talk about that temporary thing again. The Glenmont Express is operated by Ride On, the bus agency for Montgomery County, and it was introduced on July 6th in conjunction with the Red Line construction to mitigate any additional travel time for commuters coming from the Shady Grove and Germantown areas, particularly those who work on the east side of the Red Line. As I explained at the beginning of the video, if you're taking just the Red Line and the shuttles from Shady Grove to places like Gallery Place, Union Station, Noma, or even Fort Totten, you're adding a lot of extra travel time onto an already very long trip. But with the Glenmont Express, you can just go straight to Glenmont and then you're already on the right side of the Red Line. So it seems to me that instead of having this be a temporary feature that's going away on September 6th, this should be something permanent, especially because crosstown connections in DC and in the suburbs can be incredibly slow. Like I said, the regular bus between Shady Grove and Glenmont takes over an hour. This ride was done in 17 minutes. I almost couldn't believe it. Now, the elephant in the room, or rather lack of elephant, is the fact that there are only 2 people on board this bus, not including the driver. It's me and one other person. That, I suppose, could be taken as an argument to not run this bus service permanently. I don't think that's a very good argument, though, for a few reasons. For starters, I'm on the 3:43 departure from Shady Grove, which is before rush hour. Most people are still at work. And I'm technically on what you could consider to be the reverse rush service. After all, it's more likely in the afternoon that people would take the train to Glenmont and then take this bus to Shady Grove than the other way around. Additionally, the fact that it's weekdays only, rush hour only, and only every 40 minutes does not help. Majority of trips in the region are suburb to suburb, but most of these do not follow a typical commuter schedule. And other than some social media posts and a few posters, there's no information about it. It's not incorporated into any maps or any online planners, so most people probably just don't know about this. I think this should be a permanent, all-day, everyday service. I mean, let's face it, other than the Purple Line, we're not getting any new rail anytime soon. What if we imitated a London-style Superloop system where there were fast buses that took people between different branches of the Metro rail system? I know several of the jurisdictions in the region all have their own plans for fast buses on some of these corridors, but many of these are years away from being completed, and I think it could be useful to think about a truly regional orbital system. We've got all these highways in the region, might as well use them for pro-transit purposes. Anyway, we've arrived at Glenmont. Time to briefly admire the nice mosaics upstairs and then go downstairs on the Red Line. In my hypothetical situation of a passenger traveling from Shady Grove to Noma, they would save about half an hour, since it would be 40 minutes with the Glenmont Express and then the Red Line versus an hour and 10 minutes with the Red Line and the construction shuttles. I don't think the ridership for the Glenmont Express can really tell us what the demand is for this kind of connection because of its terrible schedule and the fact that it doesn't really exist on any signs or maps. But what do you think? How can we best improve connectivity in this region? Has the metro construction impacted your commute? As always, let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video or learned something new, please subscribe to Trains Are Awesome, and we'll see you next time.